Swing big and save even bigger with our Big League Markdowns at Capital Ford in Santa Fe. This is your shot at big league deals, like a new 2025 Ford F-150 XLT 4-wheel drive Power Boost Hybrid, now up to $9,900 off MSRP, or a new 2026 Ford F-250 Super Duty, now up to $6,100 off MSRP. We're offering up home run deals all day, every day, with these Big League Markdowns at Capital Ford in Santa Fe.
If you're going to go somewhere, let it be like nowhere you've ever been. Where every wall, everywhere, is a work of art. And handcrafted comes in all shapes and sizes. A place where all natural is second nature. And our color palette was made by Mother Nature herself. A place where you can weave your own story. And the streets aren't crowded with people, but with art, history, and a one-of-a-kind culture. Where the backdrops are blue skies, starry nights, and works of art that touch your soul. There's something about Santa Fe that's just different. Uncover your different in a place that is waiting to be discovered.
And we're back with another great episode with the Santa Fe Gloom live cast. For some reason, I don't have the correct banners up on top. Shout out to Eric Moulton for setting me up. But for some reason, I can't get our sponsors. But Capital Ford, thank you all so very much. Age-friendly senior care, Mercedes-Benz, Tourism Department of Santa Fe Economic Development. And thank you all so much, because without your support, we're not able to have these great conversations. So another great guest, returning guest, the one and only Stig Jantz. Stig, thank you so much for jumping on today.
Absolutely, David. Thank you for inviting me. First off, those ads are great. Capital Ford, that's an awesome, sponsor. And my dad was a Ford guy, only owned Fords. And then, boy, that Santa Fe ad is beautiful. It just reminds me how spectacular the community is. And what I was thinking was, there's one thing missing from that wonderful ad, a Gloom game. Some highlights from a Gloom game. Adds to the culture.
We're working on it. Yeah, I mean, we want Santa Fe to be known as a sports town, sports city, and Gloom is another good slice to add to that.
Absolutely, and like the performing arts and visual arts, sport is a human expression. It's raw, it's real, it's present, it's analog, it's everything.
Yeah. So Santa Fe is known for the arts, and Stig, I'm going to throw this up, and I hope this works. We're going to give you a little plug. We got Studio Stig.
All right.
So Stig, tell us about this Instagram page.
All right. Well, thank you, David. It's art I do. Well, first off, it's I would say geometric abstract, and it's inspired by suprematist artist, and from early 20th century Russia, and also constructivists from this Eastern Europeans. And there's like certain artists I really love. I'm inspired by, and then these like precursors to the Bauhaus movement. But anyway, I do these pieces, all of them in Excel, Microsoft Excel. So as you remember, I know it's crazy. And then I have them printed out. I live out in Southern California, so there's a great printer in Los Angeles area who they do large prints of these. And then there's a framer who does tremendous work for artists. And then I have them, printed and framed, and it's one of one. So these are fine art pieces. They're pricey to frame and print. And then I'm over them. When I do one, I'm on to the next. So
yeah.
And I do them all the time. I think so. I mean, I have hundreds, probably approaching 1,000 now. Not far from there. And I'll be probably print out, like when it's all said and done, maybe 1 or 2% of everything. And I just look at each piece as a part of the process. Like when the printed pieces that I like end up exhibiting and selling, those will just be a product of all the work, and to be products of the other ones. So I appreciate you sharing it. It's fun. It's and it's all derived from my work in higher education, where I not only help students, but I did a lot of spreadsheets in Excel. And I did a lot. Like, it was like annoying to my colleagues, because like I was just spend hours and hours on them every day. I did, Monday through Friday. I was always, either seeing a student or working on a spreadsheet. And then what happened was the spreadsheets got too elaborate, like colorful and pretty, and some people just wanted the numbers. And I like the aesthetic value of it. And then I was fortunate at University of Colorado Denver to have this amazing supervisor named Samuel Kim. Give him a shout out. Got tongue twister. And Sam was, we were in student affairs, and he allowed me to do logic mapping for a lot of our processes we did. And so, that's where I'm at. So it's just something I do every day. I'm passionate about it. And my goal is to have an exhibit at Santa Fe sometime.
Yep.
I love the community, and they do take chances on emerging artists. And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, when you come to our Gloom game, Stig, you have to bring your art, and we'll set you up.
Oh, for sure. I got to do some with Gloom colors. That's true.
I've been waiting. I know. I've been waiting, but I'll wait.
It's all about the feeling. I got to come up with it.
I'll continue to wait, Stig.
Absolutely.
So, Stig, let's talk about senior care.
Yes, sir.
And I don't even know really where to start with this. It's obviously really close to my heart. But I think maybe the best way to start is just your experiences with your mom and your stepdad, right?
Well,
take it away.
Go back. I like to go back a little bit.
And we're going to tie all this into futsal and Gloom,
for sure,
by the way, because it's all the human experience.
Absolutely. So I know it sounds crazy, but it actually started in junior high. When I was a kid, there was a convalescent, back in the 70s, they were called convalescent homes, and there was one nearby, and I remember just like always being intrigued by it. I didn't go in it, per se, but we would walk by it. I wondered like what it was for. And then one time I was walking home from junior high school. Middle schools were junior highs back then. And this kid named Dave Shedlock pushed me in. There was like a pond right in front of it. He pushed me in the pond in front of that convalescent home. So I was destined to be involved with senior care right from that moment. So embarrassing. But anyway, I was all wet and stuff. And so fast forward, I was always close with my grandmother, my mom's side. She lived in Westwood near UCLA. And I was always like a historian, kind of kid. I knew all the capitals. I knew dates and years, even in elementary school through college. And so I got to know, I was really tight with my grandmother, and I was kind of like the family historian through her. She was sitting on so many gems. So I got really close with her. Mm-hmm. And then in the mid 90s, I moved back to Los Angeles to be near her. And then she was, getting, in her mid to late 80s, and she was starting to have health issues. So my future wife and I moved 8 blocks from her, so I could see her every day. That was my goal. And so I would visit her and make sure that she had what she needed. She had a live-in, during the week, because her care became more increased, as you know, David.
Yeah.
So we hired someone to be there. Then my job was to make sure that she had assistance. That the person who lived with her, I would say the home health care professional, had all the things she needed: food, care. And then I got really good at my grandma's signature. So this is back in the day before internet. So I wrote her checks, Bank of America. I wrote out her checks for her to pay all her bills. And then I just remember talking to her, daily. Mm-hmm. And then it was 10 days before she ultimately passed. She was really starting to have renal failure, and she was really, she had all her wits with her, but she was fading. So I had that conversation about letting go, and it was okay. And then she passed on April 4th. But the weeks before that, I kind of helped my mom through the process. And remember, I'm a young guy. I'm 36 still. I'm young, and I didn't know anything, but I kind of just naturally gravitated to doing it. I just stepped up, and so I helped my mom with everything from getting them, going to mortuary, following through my grandma's plans. Making sure we execute the trust and will, which my mom did a great job with, the planning the funeral, which we did, the planning the deli. We had to cook up with a Jewish deli. We're a Jewish family, so we had to get this coleslaw, and, the Reuben sandwiches, all those things. And then we had to plan how to, not an estate sale, but an estate giveaway. So we even had to plan all that. And I remember I was there when she passed. Actually, I missed her. I was there, and then I went to the store to get something for her, and then she passed away in that 10, 15-minute window, believe it or not. But I didn't know it because I felt her. It looked like it didn't appear she was breathing, but I felt her, and she was warm. I go, oh my gosh, but then her stomach wasn't going up and down. And I realized, oh my gosh, she had a electric blanket on. So it was surreal, And I remember just crying. But one thing I realized is there's this huge bureaucracy of dying, huge, never anticipated it, And so if somebody dies at their home, fire department, you got to call the fire department, the police department, and then the mortuary, and you're waiting for hours sometimes. It's not it's not an emergency anymore. Yeah. And then I had to call all the people, and this is back in a day when she had a phone book of her name, people in her life. So I had to call all them while there's a corpse. And so it was just a big thing, it was such a young, formative person, but it gave me a sense of pride. It kind of altered the narrative of my life. I could handle big things. It's one of the first times I really felt like an adult, like an older adult, So then that primed me for 7 years later. Did I lose you, David?
No, I'm here. Sorry, Steve. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah, that's what my camera. Oh, I see. Okay, good. And then what happened was my dad, we realized he might have some memory issues. And so this is 2000. I moved to Pueblo, and then my wife and I visited my dad, and he repeated a bunch of stories in 20 minutes. Oh my gosh, that's kind of weird. So we confronted him. He didn't like it, and they argued about it. Denial. That's one of the things you see. And so then that was even harder because one is my dad, but two, he was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, which, as you know, David, is a very
tough. Yeah, that's really, really hard.
It's the worst. It was fast. So I was in denial for about a year and a half. To be honest, I was avoiding it. I didn't want to see it, and that's common. It's just didn't want to see it. But then I had a dream. I woke up and I was sweating, and I just felt terrible. I was ignoring him. So I started seeing him every 2 weeks. I drove from Pueblo to Denver, and then I was there on his last night. This time I didn't miss it. I was there where he took his last breath with me, and I got to talk to him. And remember it's so poignant. That last night I was sitting I was laying in a bed that was it was perpendicular to his bed, our heads were head to head, so it was like an L shape. And he was laying there with the oxygen going, and he's breathing very shallowly and very quickly, Mm-hmm. And then, but peacefully, he was at peace, And then I was trying to sleep. It was like June 11th at the time, Saturday night. And then this a lady, a resident came in, burst through the doors with Walker, PVC pipe, and tennis balls. Burst through and goes, "Hey, you're a good-looking young man." And I'm startled, wake up, and I go, "Oh, okay, yeah." And I ushered her out, real gently.
Yeah.
So I laid down.
That's
I
what
saw my dad was really breathing shallowly, but I said, he'll be okay. He'll live for like another day or two, So I went back, I laid down, and I fell again asleep. It probably was like 5-10 minutes, but it seemed like an hour, But boom, doors burst open. Same woman, white, like gray hair, blue eyes. "Hey, yeah, I got like a young man." So I escorted her out again. And I looked at my dad, still breathing shallowly, probably more shallow. And so I lay down again, and I dozed off again. And a third time, the lady burst through the doors. "Hey, you're a good-looking young man." So now I know she's delusional. I know she has,
Yeah.
I know my face.
Yeah.
So I like, it was eyeball to eyeball. She had these beautiful blue eyes, and I said to her, my father's dying, and I just want a moment with him, just me and him.
Yeah.
And check this out, like a couple things. One, I said that woman is in my life for a reason. I didn't know why. I'm not a spiritual person per se, but I knew something was there. And she never came back. So I held my dad's hand. It was like bony and cold, the circulation's real low. And I said, "Dad, I love you, and my brothers love you, and your little brother love you, and we love you, and we're to miss you. The world's not going to be the same without you.
Yeah.
But it's okay to go." And I kid you not, like he blinked his left eye, he swallowed, blinked again, and stopped breathing. And I was just there for that. Mm-hmm. Now, after he passed, I called my stepmom, his wife, and then I wrote on a piece of paper, I wrote 12 things to get done for her. Everything from like reserving space at the church, obituary, all the things, and because things I dealt with my grandma. And she had this beautiful funeral. It was an awesome occasion. And, there's hundreds of people that, it's really amazing how many people he touched. And because he was still young, relatively young, 71, he still had a lot of people in his life, unlike when they're a lot older. So that was in 2005. So fast forward, like now we're going in the mid-teens, and we started noticing my mother lived in Northern California, and she and my stepdad lived in this really secluded place. Okay. And my brother Fox said, my brothers are Fox and Wolf. And Fox said,
we'll explain that story later.
Yeah. So Fox said, Steve, Margaret, his wife, they're just wonderful people. And they said, Mom's losing it a little bit. And we're hypersensitive because our dad, so we're going, oh. And she's telling us some story at the same time. They're kind of losing it. But that was like 2016, around then. We didn't think too much of it. And then by like 2019, it's progressing. My stepdad's still pretty good. He was able to hold down the fort. So then 2020, I drove up there I live in Bakersfield. So it's just before the pandemic. And I go, wow, like things have changed. Like she's more out of it. He's not as sharp as he was. You can tell he's having some memory issues. The house isn't as tight as it was. They had like 40 cuckoo clocks. I kid you not. And not one of them was at the same time. So you'd be awake all hours, like cuckoo. And then one would go ding, ding, ding. And then another one would go cuckoo, cuckoo. And it was like all minutes. Like it was just insane. Like I go in her like disrepair. And then they had they are hoarding stuff, and it was like really not great. But then I started going, like after the pandemic cleared, the shutdown goes, I started going every 2 months for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And that's a 700-mile drive each way. So here's what people need to know. It's easy to miss things, and I would tell people to, like you told me this all the time, David, and I believed you, but I didn't act on it. I did believe you, but I pushed things off. And this is for our viewers, okay? Something's going to happen. So, it could be a fall, it could be an illness, it could be driving the wrong way, it could be a financial crisis. Something's going to happen that will necessitate a move, a change. Okay, with memory loss, Parkinson's, MS, anything that's neurological, get ready.
Yeah.
If you have your wits, your body's functioning, you're gonna be you can manage. You can even have them in your home, but at some point, when it's a neurological disease, they're going to be leaving their home most likely. And you told me, Stig, something's going to happen. Well, December 2nd, I get a call. December 2nd at 2022, get a call. My stepdad was in a hospital. He had a serious UTI, which made him loopy. He fell in the shower, was taken to the hospital. My mom was wandering around the streets of Crescent City, California for 3 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
I got a call from Adult Protective Services. Okay. I'm the power of attorney for my mom, my stepsister, for my stepdad. That's not a good place to be. Right. One, just from a human standpoint, from a child standpoint, but from a legal standpoint, it's dangerous. There's elder abuse possibilities. And guilty as charged, because when I got up there, I drove right up there. And that's a whole other story. The journey up there was very, very difficult. A lot of my human error, okay, in a car. So I got there a day later, and I saw him in the hospital. He did not recall why he was in the hospital, didn't know what happened. My mom was clueless, because of her dementia. At that point, it was much further along than we anticipated. And oh man, like just seeing like their living situation. We moved them in. My brother Wolf came up, Fox's twin, and so without him, he was the godsend. Like he was a retired firefighter, and he's able to handle a lot of stuff that he's trained to do. And so we actually managed it. But there's like here again, bureaucracy of dying. Okay, no healthcare like in Crescent City. That's great. Limited. The doctor had limited capacity, couldn't see my mom. My mom hadn't seen her, so my mom would have to wait 3 months to see her. Wow. They needed to be in a place like ASAP. And there was a decent facility there, but we couldn't get them in. There's like a 601A form they have to fill out. Couldn't fill it out because my mom didn't have a doctor to fill it out. They needed help. Now my stepdad had a pressure wound on his rear, posterior. And he had a UTI, and he had a catheter, so he was in trouble. And so we had there's a doctor in Bakersfield, awesome guy. I collaborated with him at Bakersfield College on some cases for students in need, and he's able to see my parents immediately. Got him in, and then it took us 7 weeks to get him into a memory care facility. In that time, my brother and I and my partner Anna, we made sure they were safe. I mean, again, in the house here, and it was really difficult. It's like Step Brothers, the movie. Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly roaming around at midnight and putting on shoes at 2 a.m. And my stepdad, it was crazy. But for listeners, here's what I want you to say: like, it's easy to miss things. So my stepdad, we thought he had it on lock, or we wanted. I'll put this on me. I wanted to believe that he had it unlocked so I didn't have to deal with it, that everything is good. Mm-hmm. They were sleeping on a piece of plywood because they had a hole in their mattress for probably years.
Wow.
So that's why he had a pressure wound. Their food was expired. They had the same food, lots of like barbecue sauce. They never had barbecue, but they had like 20 barbecue sauces. Like they had bread, like bunch of loaves of bread in their living room. They had napkins everywhere. I mean, they had some mice like starting to infestate one of their closets. They're always like losing their debit cards, and I was always fixing that. But I didn't think of it as a clue. I had to do health checks all the time with the sheriff's department for years, but I didn't want to deal with it. And so I know you see this too, David. You're getting people like late, and ultimately I know you have them in their home a lot, but they will. If they have dementia, they won't be in their home someday, as you know. And so now they moved the memory care in January of 23. My stepdad was there for 3 years. He died in January of this year. My mom's still gone. Here's some of the things that I've learned that I'm grateful for. You got to have a team. Just like in anything. Yep. So one, David Fresquez is a key part of my team because I was able to bounce ideas off him over the years. Mm-hmm. all the time. So you didn't know about my dad per se, because I met you just. I bet you might have been at the orientation I was doing when I met my dad. When my dad was like dying that weekend, because I had orientation on January 10th, June 10th. And then my dad died on June 12th, and then there was another one on the 17th. So right in that window, you might have been in one of those orientations where I was speaking. I was still working around it.
What year was this, Stig?
2005.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, you might have been in one of those orientations when you saw me.
I was in my diapers.
Huh?
I was in my diapers.
Yeah, still. So was my dad. But anyway, but that's true. That's facts.
Yeah.
But we, the team is really important. So a person like David Fresca is real important. You need to talk to people who understand the industry and understand the bureaucracy. A great legal team. So my parents got a very good lawyer to manage things, like to have a trust. Have a power of attorney lined up, a person responsible for the health directive. We had a great financial team, financial advisor, to have everything set up for them, in the trust, and they worked in concert with the legal, the lawyers. Okay. I also, like in October 22, I was like, it was kind of precious of me to see that we need to do things. So I met with an elder attorney, an elder law attorney, and I had my brothers and one of my stepsisters on that call, and we went through all the things that were going on and all the things we had done. She says, "You're in the top 95 percentile families. You guys are really good." Yeah. And so it made me and my brothers feel good, because we had actually had a lot of things done. And even with all that, there's so many things I learned, and mistakes, just little mistakes like shaving and haircuts and fingernails and companionship and patience on my part, and just like sores and health issues, but the disease is unrelenting. And so my stepdad, I asked him this in last November or October, November. He was going through some hard times. He's having some TIAs, which are kind of mini strokes or non-responsive. So he had a bunch of them in every 2 months. It was kind of a weird every 2 month thing. And he would get frustrated and angry about his plight. And so I asked him, we go, "Hey, Don, what keeps you going? What is it? Why do you keep, what motivates you to keep living?"
That's a good question.
And because I wanted to know, and I respect him, with dementia, he's a human being, and he's my stepdad, he's my elder. And I never baby my parents. I treat them with respect. They want syrup, they get syrup on their spaghetti. That's what they get. I don't treat them like a baby. You want syrup, you get it. I make sure they get it, honestly. And so he said, and he thought about it, and he looked at me. He said, and I want to set the background. We're in the bathroom, he's in a chair. I have a Walmart chair, a plastic lawn chair. He's sitting in that. Again, thing I learned, I bought these really nice chairs for them.
That's a rookie mistake, Steve.
Rookie mistake. They ruined it. Rookie mistake, and they destroyed it, and it was awful. I throw it in a dumpster. So I said, I'm going to Walmart. I'm getting a plastic lawn chair for $15.99. So I was sitting there, and I gave him a haircut like mine. So we had the same barber. We looked at the same, we had a 4 up top and a 0-1 fade, but he was a 2 up top because he had less hair. But we had the same barber. And so I gave him a haircut, and I gave him a shave. I needed to get a wet, hot towel. He loved it. He goes, "Stiggy, I love this." And then I shave him I get Barbasol. He looked like Santa Claus. I had him all covered up. He goes, "This feels so good. It smelled good, So the answer to his question, to my question, was this. You know what? I like getting a haircut and a shave. That's my favorite thing. Now that's the moment. So getting to what we're talking about is the moment. That's the moment. So what keeps them going is the moment. And here's where I'm going with this. And this is what I've learned. I've done a lot of reading about memory care from the neurological standpoint. I'm trying to do more and more research and understanding. So we know parts of the brain that starts where the synapses stop working, and we have neuron failure, would be short-term memory stuff where they just don't remember things now. They remember things from their past, distant past for sure, but they'll forget like things they did like 5 minutes ago, yesterday, more recently. Okay. I also think about the other thing you lose, like almost concurrent to that, is long-term hope. So short-term memory with long-term hope. They're not thinking about like vacations. They're not thinking about things with their kids on a trip. They're not thinking about like doing stuff around the house. It doesn't register anymore. They don't remember things from like 5 minutes ago or what they ate for lunch, and they don't think about what they're going to do in a year. They still do have hopes, though, at a certain point about what the eating dinner or getting a visitor or seeing somebody or seeing their mom or dad. Like even though that person might have been dead 30 years, for 30 years, they still have a hope of seeing that person. So that's a real hope. Like their memory's not clicking, but their hope's still there. But then as the horrible disease progresses, then it starts eating away, at the long-term memory. They don't remember kids anymore, like at all, or names. They have no recollection of their past. And then they lose short-term hope. They're not hoping for meals anymore. They're not hoping for like a bath. They're just like, all they have at some point is the now, literally. Mm-hmm. That is it. Like today I saw my mom and she was in good spirits and she was eating she was in the dining room later for breakfast later because she had a shower. And so she was eating like her pancake and eggs. That's all she eats every meal, pancakes and eggs with syrup all over the eggs and pancakes, sometimes diced up sausage. And she was eating with her hands and she was happy. Yeah. And then we go to the courtyard. It wasn't too hot today. And we're listening to music. And then the activity director had some meetings. So she said, "Steve, you got the music?" I go, "Yeah." So I'm entertaining the troops with my jazz and R&B. And I played some I remember I put Heard It Through Grapevine with Marvin Gaye. My mom's tapping her feet. Right then, she doesn't know my name. I'm just a hospice volunteer to her. Right. Literally a hospice volunteer. So she had the tap in her feet, as did some other residents. It's the now. Here's what's great. Now, this is why I love sport. It's the now. Mm-hmm. It's when you're playing like futsal or baseball, football, like you do have some long-term, like baseball, you remember a pitch, and you're playing and you're thinking about a pitch, or futsal, you're going to think about an opponent you played in the past. But there's a moment when that's gone because you got the ball in play. So you're thinking about like what you practiced your whole life and the whole week and the whole day before, and you just execute in the moment. And that's what's so powerful. That's why people are drawn to like sport or play or art, like Santa Fe so vibrant, because people are in the moment right now. And I guess I'm speaking for me. That's why I'm drawn to elder care or being part of it, like with my family. And I'm sure afterwards I'll stay involved because I'm addicted to the now. That's it. I'm addicted to like being around people who care about like right now. And it's like my art. Like one of my friends asked my niece, she goes, "Stig, like, do you have a favorite art piece?" I said, "Yeah, the one I just did." No, and they go, "No, seriously." I go, "No, I'm serious. Like, that's the one I'm fixated on. When it's done too, I'm still looking at it. Then when I do another one, I don't even look at that one. Like I forget I even did it. Like I go, oh my gosh, like." And I think that's like the power of like performance, like sport or art or. And I think that's the beauty of, I know it sounds crazy, but there is a beauty in dementia at some point because they're not worried about all the bullshit in our lives. They're just living right now. Now it's sad. Like, don't get me wrong, but you got to find, like, when you have ugliness, you got to find the beauty like in there. There are moments of beauty. Yep. And, I'm finding it a privilege to be part of it. And then also, I don't know about you, David, but just seeing the pictures of folks and then seeing like how they were. And then I still remember like my mom and stepdad and how they are. Like they're still like my mom. There's still parts of her very much alive, like that were like there when she was 30 or 40, very, very much so. And that's like, I honor that. Like I love that, and it's the same with sport. Like I just love, like when I watch an athlete, like your futsal, I watch the games. it's fun to watch the guys because you learn about them through their performance. You learn about like their intensity level, their passion, how much they care, how they handle adversity, how they handle like like success, how they learn to play under pressure, how they learn to use their tools. And that's the other thing, like with memory care, people have like limitations, right? So they learn how to do things. Like they're still learning. I know it sounds crazy, but they learn how to unlock their wheelchair. They learn, it's like they're like a three-legged dog. They learn how to survive with less. And I'm addicted to that too. So I love watching athletes who play like with like a limitation. There's something like the time's limited, the opponent's like superior athletes per se. They're shorter, man. Like it's fun, like 10-3-11 and World Cup. It's interesting to watch teams like hang in there. Like Mexico gave it their all with 10. It was incredible. Mexico gave they almost beat England with 10 guys, and I go, okay, that's my squad right there. Like those dudes, that's how I like watching that. Not they're the best team, most talented team, but they're well coached. They had a lot of heart. They're disciplined, and they had. I think they were smart how they played with 10 offensively. It was an incredible performance, and I thought when England played a team with 11, like Argentina, it was different.
Yeah, consistency too.
Yeah, and they were talented.
So Steve, you visited your mom and your stepdad. I mean, how many days in a row for the last?
Thanks for asking. And listen, this is all part of the journey. So it's part of who I am, and you know me. You saw I was at CSU Pueblo. So I missed 12 days in 3.5 years. 12 days. So last time I haven't been at the facility was October 4th of last year. So I go every day, and the days I missed were like I missed 5 days. I had to miss 4 days in a row in February of 23 for an estate sale. Okay, and then I had 2 days of Christmas, and then I went every day for the rest of that year. And then 2 days I missed in Christmas of 23 for Anna's family. Okay, and then in 24 I missed 2 days because Anna's mom passed away. Again, I was close with her. She passed away at 92, so I missed. We had a funeral on the next day, so I missed 2 days there. Okay, and then in May of 2025, I had missed 2 days. I missed 1 day because I had a law school graduation in Portland. So I drove 27 hours I was gone 17 hours out of 44. So 27 hours were on the road from Bakersfield. So I didn't want to miss more than a day, but I don't miss. I still go to Sacramento. I have other obligations, but I don't miss. And why is a couple of things. One is consistency. I think it's good for everyone to see my mom to see a face. I think it's good for some of the other residents. Also, it's good for the care staff. Like they don't feel always alone. Also allows me to keep an eye on things. I like to just make sure everything's cool, and they know there's a lot. Like the facility owned by a hedge fund company or capital venture capitalist company, private equity firm. They need to know that families are watching. Just protect their loved ones. That's all I'm doing. And but I'm that way in everything. By the way, just how I operate. Just because I limitate. Listen, and that being said, I'm not the best kid in there. Like there's better. There's people who don't go, maybe not every day, but they're like more aware. They pay attention to their loved one a little more. I have blind spots sometimes. I'm like a 72 40 Econo van. Like there's a big blind spot. Like I'm not an AMC pacer. Like I don't have big windows and stuff.
Yeah.
So I got to work on that, and I learn from like wives and daughters and some sons. I go, all right. I swear to you, I go, okay, all right. I take mental notes. I go, I can do better. I can step it up. And I do. And so, and then there's people who don't go, and they're better people. Like my brothers are great guys, and they're always more compassionate to my mom than I was. Oh, like always. I think there's and they would be the first one to admit this. Like they love mom so much, it's hard for them to see mom like this.
Yeah.
I'm able to compartmentalize. So it's ugly, and I get sad, and there's moments where I cry, but I'm okay with it. Like, I'm okay with the hideousness of it. You know, I just keep, because I just go on to the next thing. Again, I just go, okay, this is done. Now I got to go do weed abatement, or I got to cook dinner, or I got to do a football thing, or work on art. And so I just block it off. Or I talk to you, like you and I are kidding around, but maybe an hour before, you know, I was in a tough situation with my mom, you know, dealing with something, or my stepdad back in the day. Same at Pueblo. Like June 10th, I'm doing an orientation. That night, I'm seeing my dad. That night, I said we have 200 people in the audience. That night, I'm seeing my dad. Like, boom. 2 days later, he's dying. Then I'm back at school doing orientation, just like that. You know, so his funeral was on the 16th of June. 17th, I'm doing orientation. Like, I just compartmentalize it. So that doesn't mean I'm more compassionate. I think that's the thing. Like a lot of times, like, people will say, "Oh, he's such a loving, great son," and I want to disavow people of that. Like, I'm a good person. But I'm a tough person. I say with memory, with dealing with elder care, I think yes, I have a level of compassion and love for sure. I wouldn't say like it's a 10, maybe it's an 8, 7 or 8, but I see people with 8s and 9s for sure. But your level of toughness got to be a 10 or 11, like an 11. You got to be nasty, like with memory, with neurological disease. It's different than someone who's just older and dying. You know, you get time with them, talk to them, joke around about stories. But when you're dealing with neurology, no, man, it's like, you know, in your career, you're tough too. It's nasty, man. You gotta just go in there, and you gotta ball out. Like, that's what it is. And the hard part is not just showing up; it's dealing with the financial crap and the legal stuff, all those things, and they keep coming. They keep coming. You know, let's go gloom. Yeah, they didn't hear about the gloom. And this conversation is not about gloom, like in the life sense, like gloom, you know, like gloom, doom and gloom. It's not. There's a lot of beauty in it, but to find the beauty, you got to have a certain like armor. You know, your body's you got to armor yourself to be able to see the beauty, because you're going in like a tough situation. And I say the same thing with sport. You know, it's funny because I talk about this with coaches that I've worked with. I like games that are nasty. Like, I like games that are tough, where we have hardship, like the weather stinks, the opponent's good, and we're girded for like toughness, you know. So we're set up to be in a game where we might be outplayed, but my motto is just keep it in play, just keep it in play. So if you ask my brothers or my close friends, they will tell you, like, I don't need to win. All I need is a chance to win, and I'll hurt if I don't win. That it hurts, like it stinks.
Broncos, Jacksonville,
huh?
Broncos in Jacksonville.
That was different because we were heavily favored. But we didn't have a chance to win. We got our ass kicked, right? But you know, and that game haunts me still. That '96 playoff. It was early '97, but the '96 season was our best team. We were 14-2, and we didn't get it done. But I just remember Natron Means just like and Mark Brunell just like killing us. You know, we couldn't stop the run. Both those guys were tearing us up. But
don't talk about it, Steve.
I know I won't. But it hurts. But I will say this: I like games like the following season. We're a wild card, and we're playing at Arrowhead, and it was we won 14-10, and Elvis Gerbach was a quarterback for the Chiefs. I just remember, like, it was just one of those tough games, man. Like, and the Chiefs had a chance to win. But we were in the lead. So my goal is like to be either have the lead and they have the ball and we hang on. Our defense has to make the play, or we're trailing and our offense or special teams makes a play to win. Like, that's all I need. Like, and if I lose, I'm gonna hurt. But I you know what, I go. But there's a sense of like joy, not satisfaction, but joy. I go like hell yeah. Like this felt good. Like I love the competition, and it's just like it's on the edge. And so it's fun, like being with elder people, like they're battling. You know what I mean? Like they're like all the odds are against them. Like they're still going. I don't know how. I don't know how.
And family members and caregivers are battling, to your point.
Yes.
And we're strategically thinking through, like, well, what caregivers do we put in place for certain moments of what's going to be going on? Like, do we need a caregiver who wants to do overnights, who's got that schedule, you know? Who's got the morning routine correct, who's got the afternoon routine where maybe it's a nap, you know, so we're putting in a different profile of a caregiver. it's very similar to what we do with Gloom or any type of sport.
That's such a good point. Like you're moving pieces around. Like they have certain skills, and so like there's certain one like like a fullback is like has the neck roll and they got no neck and they like to block. In college, they're like a big time tailback, but in NFL, they weigh 240. They run a 4.6, but they like blowing up people, right? Yep. That and then at home they clean the cat box for the family. Like that's a grinder. That's someone to be good with someone maybe dementia or Parkinson's.
Yep.
Like you need someone who like that. So that's what we're talking about. Like, and you can tell, David, you've had caregivers like the minute they can't have memory care, within days. Oh yeah. You can see in their eyes like they're scared, like it's too much, and they're not gonna make it. Like you can see it, like they don't have that. And I wouldn't say the heart. They just don't have the constitution for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's brutal work. It's brutal work. Not many people can do it.
It's same with being a professional athlete. Like, so I think one thing I would say is like, your futsal, like in futsal, like you got to have the gumption. You got to have the constitution to be a professional athlete. Now, it's people go futsal professional. Yeah, it's professional. Like just everyone understand the Santa Fe Gloom are a professional team. So it's professional standards. Okay, professionalism. So professionalism means number one is you're honing your craft, but that takes character. You got to have a certain kind of character that blocks things up, that compartmentalizes. Like, well, I got to be at practice. I got to work in a game. I got to take time out to visualize the game. I got to actually I got to visualize like plays. I got to think about formations. I got to think about opportunities in different scenarios. Like when a ball comes here, what do I do? What do I do on a fast break? What do I do if we're shorthanded? Like and there's numbers, and I'm the only one back with the goalie. We think about those things. And so I just saw that. Thank goodness for caregivers. I think teammates have to be caregivers for each other, and they have to be caregivers of the ball. You got to be caregivers in so many other ways. We're how about this? You just care. We're caregivers. We're care providers. I love that. Like, Bess, just thank you for saying that. Just caring matters. Like, let's just get to that. Let's care. Just care. Let's care. Care about everything you do. Care about people. Care about your performance. Care about being a master of something.
Yeah.
Care about the process. Care about your finances. Care about your health. Just care about your community. Care about your society. Care about our civil responsibilities. Caregiving is something we always do. Now, obviously, David, you and I, it's for you especially, it's your career. It's heightened, right? You're a caregiver, but all of us should be caregivers and care providers in our lives in some capacity. That's the point. And that, I guess, when I see caregivers, the professionals at a memory care facility or home like you, or I see family members who are rolled up their sleeves doing it, then you understand, okay, that's that's in your face every day. Those are caregivers. But then I think we all have to be caregivers in our lives to others, to ourselves, to our community, care providers. And that's a mindset that takes intentionality. It takes a determination, a grit. And caregiving is not easy. Again, we talked about the toughness, right? It takes to care for some elderly person. Parents, a baby, a child with a disease, a child with a mental health challenge, a child with a challenge in school, a child who's being bullied, a child who is a bully. Parenting is caregiving.
Yeah.
How about this? Kids can care for their parents. As a kid, a 12-year-old go, "Hey, Mom, how are you? Do you need any help around the house?" A 12-year-old has that agency.
Yeah.
A 10-year-old. Seriously, I kid you not, everyone has agency. Everyone. And so we all have this responsibility to those around us. And obviously, we're able to do it, like me and you do have a platform to do it in our everyday lives with our family, you and your business and your family. You got your grandparents and your parents and your sibling and your niece and nephew. So you have a lot of people to care for. We all have a lot of people to care for. We're all caregivers. That's it. Bottom line. Thank goodness for the caregivers.
Amen. I'm going to show this question, Stig.
Yes.
This one might be kind of towards me a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is a good one. And this is kind of the crisis that I feel like the United States is facing in general. So what is some basic advice for families facing a similar situation, but with much more limited financial or insurance capabilities to care for their loved ones or capacity?
Well, first off, that's a great question.
Especially New Mexico and rural areas, northern New Mexico?
Yeah,
Is I feel like we're like top 5 on fastest aging communities, but at the same time, we're like 50th in senior poverty and resources.
Is this Corey? Is that her name? Corey?
It's Karina.
Huh?
Karina.
Thanks for thoughtful question, Karina, and we're blessed that you're calling us. One thing is, I tell you, in Bakersfield, we're blessed. So my mom got lucky. Because my grandmother married well, her second marriage. We got lucky. My stepdad married my mom. So, but even so, it's insane. So your question is this: I was exploring opportunities. Just to give you, I almost want to give you some context. And because we could run out of funds, I mean, that was a real reality, because we had 2 people in memory care. It was really expensive. We could run out of funds, and so they're spending down. It's their money. They're spending down all the estate. So I looked at Medicaid places in California. We call it Medi-Cal out here, and I live in Bakersfield. There were 12 places that took Medi-Cal. 12. Okay, 2 were 2 out of 5 stars, and the other 10 were 1 for quality. That's one of the issues. It's not because they don't want to do a good job. They don't have the resources. So there's the family doesn't have resources, but the facilities don't have resources. And so you're hard pressed to do that. And so in California, what we have is a thing called IHSS, in-home supportive services. So I'm sure a lot of blue states will have that. I'm sure red states, some do. So it's what it is. It's this program where if you're eligible financially, you apply, and then the state gives you a little bit above minimum wage, to care for your loved one, whether it's a kid with special needs or an elderly person or anyone in your family who needs that. That's one way people do it. And they still, I'm not saying it's a cure-all. I would say one thing I would do is talk to people, like whether it's a doula, for example, or there are people there are for instance, the Alzheimer's Disease Association is one example. Parkinson's Disease Association, they have resources for you to contact people for information. That's where I would go. That's what I've done. Talk to people who have ideas for you, and then they will kind of point you in the right direction of other people. So what you're doing is you're networking to find people who can give you answers, because your question is a very critical question. Let's not kid ourselves. This country does not put money into care for anyone. Remember we talked about, thank goodness for all the caregivers. Yeah. Our country doesn't think that way in a lot of ways. Yeah. It's not just elder cares, early childhood education, higher education, unemployment, moms. You go down the list. And so we need to find people who can help each other. That's what I would say. Find depending on your family, your loved one's situation, find the appropriate agency or nonprofit organization, call and ask for information. Then they'll plug you into possible financial solutions that are partial. I don't have to say nothing's all the way, unfortunately. Yeah. What do you think, David?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a huge crisis that's going on. I think the short answer, unfortunately or fortunately, is a nursing home setting for people who are on Medicaid. Yep. I mean, that's where I started out my career, was in nursing homes. And I mean, I feel like from my experiences, the system doesn't work, but the staff inside the nursing homes really do. And they really do care, because this is extremely, literally breaking work that those CNAs are doing. And then there's nurses around, there's med management, you get 3 meals a day. It's safe. It's a lockdown, secure place. So people who have memory loss, they can't get lost, or lost, and they can't get out of the facility. So nursing home is definitely, I think, the best place to be. And thank goodness that we have a nursing home setting as well. So that's kind of my take. There's also nonprofits that do in-home care, similar to my company as well. So it's out there, but it's still very, very far in between.
If I could add to that, that's great, David. And if I could add to that, couple things. Because I volunteered at a Medi-Cal place in Santa Monica after my grandma passed, and it was great. I mean, they share rooms and all that. That being said, like in rural settings, there are shortages. They're closing down, and hospitals as well. Okay,
Yep.
So another option would be, and depending on where your family member is hospice. So that's palliative care. So there's a point where in our transition in life where hospice is usually free. That is a really good resource and to explore in situations where we need palliative care. So, but David's right. It's a crisis. It's not an easy thing to do. Again, though, get back to that toughness. We got to roll up our sleeves and just it's even getting even tougher because the system is not working. There's already a lot that our loved one is suffering or is challenged, right? And now we have to deal with a system that's not helping us. And so we have to really, really, really be tough. It's like playing in a snowstorm.
Yep. Stig, last question for you. I'm going to bring this up right here. Rocky IV.
Yeah.
People don't be confused. Stig Jantz and Ivan Drago. Don't be confused. So we've got this is Rocky IV trading cards unopened. I'm not sure when. This is 1985. That makes sense.
The movie came out in 84.
Yeah. So it's 85 trading cards of Rocky IV.
Yeah.
And let's see. Okay. So I was going to go off the reference of Rocky III, which when Apollo Creed was telling Rocky that there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go off Rocky IV, Stig. Tell us your best lesson.
Okay. From
Rocky IV, how it relates to senior care and Gloom. I'm putting you on the spot.
I love this. Thanks, David. This is right up my alley. First of all,
and I got the Rocky one too.
I love. Oh yeah.
So Steve, you train like Rocky, but you look like Drago.
That's so funny. So at the YMCA in Pueblo, the Pueblo Family YMCA, Pueblo, Colorado, there's this really cool guy named Rick Rincon, and his kids used to call me Drago because they thought I looked like Drago. So Rick
looked like Drago.
Rick would call me like Dolph Lundgren, the actor from Sweden, of all things. And my name is Stig.
He also played He-Man, by the way, too. Yeah. For all the Master of Universe fans out there.
Yeah, so Drago. So the kids would say, "Hey," and Rick would say, "Hey, Drago," like in public, like we at Walmart or we'd be, Chipotle. "Hey, Drago, what's going on?" This is, back in Pueblo's times. So, a couple of things. I remember watching that movie, and there's so much to that movie you wouldn't believe. So, remember the Russian, the handler of Drago. The old, like the guy who's like his handler, the agent, was like telling him to train harder. Right. Not his girlfriend Bridget Nielsen, but that guy's name is Michael Pataki. He lived across the street from my mom in Westwood. That guy.
Wow.
Like the Drago thing. Like he was an actor, just Hollywood, right? So he wasn't Russian. He was just some guy who was an actor.
Right.
So that guy was in the movie, my mom's neighbor. So funny.
Wow.
So that movie had a lot of meaning. So I remember, a couple of things about this, and I bring that up all the time. I use my brother as an example, but I'll talk about my life too. So my brother Wolf is a retired firefighter, 35 years. He's a freak athlete. Both my brothers are great athletes. So my brother Fox does 90 pull-ups in a row. 90. I'm not kidding. He's like a CrossFit guy. So I could do 71 in a row. Like that's my record, 71. And I go and people, that's a lot. I go, it's not 90. Like it's annoying when you have brothers who are just better athletes. So Wolf is one of those guys who he can play any sport. So Wolf played handball competitively for the LA City Fire Department. He played against other departments. So He was at Station 39 in Van Nuys, California, and it's like a older station, but it had outdoor handball courts. So he'd play handball outside. He had the 3 walls. It looked just like the one in Santa Fe, like Zia Road, right? Yeah. Right there. I love that place. So he played handball like old school, but he was good. So he had to play in a tournament, right? Against some young dude. Like he's an older guy in his 40s by then, late 40s, early 50s. He had to play some dude. But that dude played a news station indoors. And the tournament was indoors. So I go, dude, it's Rocky IV. Like you're training outside, like you're on the cement. He was laughing hysterically. I go, yeah, like, that dude has like steroids and are putting like blood, dope in his butt. And you're like lifting logs and stuff, outside and stuff. You're running in a blizzard, and there's like KGB guys following you. And we were laughing. So I use that reference for him, 10 years ago. So here, my story is, I lift weights every day. Okay. And so pandemic, so I was always in gyms, but pandemic hit. So in addition to doing haircuts, I had a created home gym, but it's on a patio. And I live in Bakersfield, California, in the Central Valley, about 100 miles north of Los Angeles. So it gets cold here. Not Santa Fe cold, but 28 degrees in the winter. There's a little ice on the lawn, and and I have to do dumbbells, and I don't wear gloves, and it's like the metal is 28 degrees, and I see frost. Like I feel like Brett Favre, like the frozen tundra. Like it's miserable, and it's cold. I'm doing pull-ups, and I'm in my 60s, and I go, God, and I always think of Rocky, because Dolph Lundgren, man, like Drago, and he's like in a room, like controlling temperature, and I'm outside lifting the logs, and so then in the summer it's like 105, 110. And then there's gnats all over my head. So I'm doing on a fit ball or on a bench, and I'm doing weights, and the gnats are like all over my ears and stuff. And it takes toughness. So I also take those, since the pandemic, I work out when I go on the road. So I drive places. I'll bring my weights, my battle rope, and my bands, and I'll put them in my car. And then if I have to do pull-ups, I've done them in trees, or if the branch is parallel, to the ground. And so I guess the moral of the story is it's grit. It's same with the elder care. Like Rocky IV
with Gloom, especially in our early stages.
It's the Gloom. And David, just so the Gloom listeners, right? So we talked about this. So I'm a leadership program coordinator for Sierra College football program, and I was a character coach at CSU Pueblo. So my thing is like character development and culture development. And we talk about the culture for the Gloom, and so we want to we just talked about it recently, and the Gloom kind of finished the year kind of like how we were talking about it. They got grittier. They have good coaching, good players, but I think as the season went on, you can see they're a little more defensive minded. They possessed well. I noticed a little more physicality compared to earlier, the first 2 years and earlier in the season, and so I think there's a culture of Rocky IV. You're kind of looking for that culture, where you're looking not the Drago way, but you're willing to you're going to do the work and get your hands dirty. You're going to lift logs. You're going to do pull-ups on a log, on a beam and inside a fire lit room. You're going to be running in the snow. And even though you play indoors, I get it, but you have a tough outdoor mentality, And it's so whether it's elder care or caring for your kids or being a good employee or an artist or being a good friend, or being a great caregiver or a great futsal player or a great coach, it all comes down to doing the work. At the end of the day, you got to do the work. It's that simple. We go do all the headline is do the work. Be a master. David, you talk about elder care all the time. So this is a spoiler alert, viewers. David talks about elder care as much as the Gloom. He thinks about I know he loves the Gloom, and you folks who hear David and the sponsors say, hey, let's talk about the Gloom. David talks about elder care as much because he's a grinder. He thinks about it a lot. He cares a lot. He wants to make a difference in these families' lives, not just the person he's helping, but their loved ones. David's that guy, and so it's everything you do. You got to do the work, everything, and you got to get good at it. David's a lot better today, 11 years in of his own business than he was when he was a CNA in Pueblo, just working as an orderly even at Pueblo, Bill Gardens or whatever it was called, Pueblo, in the east side of Pueblo, Belmont. Yeah, the Belmont place,
It's tough.
It was a tough job, but you're doing it. You're like your MBA student. Well, this dude's like, he's loving it, and he's a hard worker. I think it's like, and I say this for your players. Hey, do the work. Like, get better. Like, do the work. Like, so right, you got months before the season starts. They're starting later than December, so it's better. So it starts early next year. So you got extra months, like 5-6 months. Work on the craft. Work, like, get the weighted ball. Work on it. Dribble, pass. Think about it. Study YouTube videos. Study film. Like, I'm sure David has film. Study your film. Get someone to film you. Do the work. Like you have a job. Do the work. Get better at it. Master something. It's funny. I work at this health food store 8 hours a week because I'm semi-retired right now. Oakshire days.
Yeah, that's Johnny Stig.
Oh, dude, I love Johnny Valenzuela.
Hatch, New Mexico in the house.
Dude, the 575, baby. The 575. That's what's up. 575. I always remember that stupid. I remember seeing his. Could you call me on my cell phone or text me? I go, oh, it's Johnny 575 because I knew the 505. Well,
yeah, that's all that matters, really.
God, he's such Hey, Johnny is a dude, man. That guy was a great soccer player.
Yeah,
I mean, great, talented, and he was a really nice guy, and he was smart. He was smart. Like, Johnny would like play it off. Like, oh, that dude's a smart student. He was a smart. I remember he was like a smart student. In fact, that soccer team, remember 09? That like there's like a bunch of dudes who graduated in 09, but there was times when 10 of the 11 dudes were business majors. Because Coach Stanley would bring them in. I go, hey, dude, you should be a business major. And I was a history major. I go, dude, you got to study business. So it was awesome. But yeah, Valenzuela could play, man. We had some good New Mexico guys. Dylan Cook from Albert. I used to call him Kirky. That was his nickname, Kirky.
Yep.
We had Matt Chinchilla from Cibola.
Yeah.
That dude could ball too, man. Yeah. I mean, we had some, like, there's some good guys. I mean, the 505, but Johnny represented the 575, Southern New Mexico. We always talk, Norte,
All that matters.
And then Winchell now, he lives in, he's in Norte now. He's a Norteño.
He is. He's a 505.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it was fun. But and then John, like thinking of those guys, go back to CC Pueblo, those dudes worked. Except for the 2 minute, except for the the mile, the 2 mile run. No, that didn't work out so well. Coach Stanley be pissed. Even I go, what the hell? What the hell's going on? But I have to say, like, those dudes work. Like, you look at that roster, those dudes are successful. Like, there's a lot of successful men on that team.
Big time.
All of them. Doing things like teaching, professional coaching, research, help, like caregivers in their own right. God, so great Johnny's here, man. We gotta get more of those dudes. But yeah, do the work, guys. Like whoever's watching, just do the work. David's doing the work. Like, so the Gloom, I remember the Gloom, just the beginning of it. Like, it was an indoor thing.
Yeah. And
then, it didn't happen, but David just switched to futsal, and I think it's been a better move. I think futsal is more of an international sport. Yep. And David does the work all the time, like for the community of Santa Fe, and mastering, and he's getting better as an owner. He's always thinking about things he could do better, like owning the squad, and then bringing in people like Sergio and Coach Pat, right?
Yep.
And Brazil, like Coach Brazil, like, he brings in really great people and great players, but David's always honing his craft. I think that's the other thing. Doing the work is like getting better, like always thinking about how I could get better, and it's never ending until it ends. Like going back to elder care, there's a time when we transition.
Stig, thank you so much.
Yeah, dude, we'll do it again. Hey, when we do it again, we'll do like a manhood thing. We can talk about that. We can talk about that stuff.
Well, the first time you were on, Stig, when we were closing up shop, you were like, "We got to talk about senior care." So we've done the senior care. That's a checkpoint. Yeah. And we're obviously going to do it again. And
I would say for sure. And then senior care can be more like people maybe if viewers are interested, we could do like this more discussion about that, because here's the thing, it's unavoidable. And a lot of your classmates now are going to be you're on the cusp of dealing with that, because some people in their 40s, early 40s have older parents that are like, in her mid 70s. Like, I mean, I had younger. My mom was only 24 years older, but they were seeing some parents like 30 plus years older. And so, like, if you're in your late 30s, early 40s, you're on the cusp. You're getting there, you know. So it's not a bad thing to ask questions, and maybe we create a community, David, down the road. Maybe create a community for that. Like, we just talk, you know.
It's super important.
Dude, it's good seeing you, man.
Stig, thank you.
You look great.
So much. Appreciate everything. We'll jump on again.
Yeah.
Maybe like before the season.
Oh, dude, for sure. And then no Biscuit.
Oh yeah, he's here. I see him.
He was good. Like, Biscuit didn't make an appearance.
So far, I don't know if you can hear him, but he's chewing the dog treat bag.
Oh,
because I went through all the dog treats. So I just threw him the bag.
Oh, wait. So Biscuit, how many treats did he eat?
I mean, probably 15 to 20 of those little training dog treats.
Oh yeah, I remember you used to get those little liver ones. Like, I remember, like, for my dogs. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Biscuit, he no wonder he's quiet. You're a smart man.
I've learned my lesson because he just continuously barks. But
Johnny's right on. Do the right thing when no one's watching.
Yeah.
Yep. No secrets. There is no secret. Just do it. Do the work, baby. Well, it's great seeing you guys, man. It's great seeing Johnny's picture too, man. I love that guy. I miss him.
505 and 575. 719. There you go.
I'm still 719 on my phone, baby. SoCal. SoCo. I'm not the 310. Everyone wants the 310. That's LA, man.
Yeah. All right, Steve. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve. Love you, brother.
And we'll have you back on, Stig. And thanks for everything you've done for my life. And we've been friends since I had diapers on.
21 years ago.
All right, Stig. Thanks.
Love you, brother. Bye, David.